Here at Lake Forest, Illinois at Bears training camp for today's joint practice, and it has been lively, to put a one-word description on it. And I think, we heard from Coach McDermott prior to practice, so let's address some of the things covered there first, Maddie. And we've been speculating as to whether or not Josh Allen would see any time this weekend. And after we heard Coach McDermott speak, I think we're wondering if we see Josh Allen at all in the preseason, right?
At this point in his career, going on his 8th NFL season, McDermott spoke to media today and said, you know what, Josh has had a great preseason so far. His preseason plan is going well. What I need to see from him in practice today is just a continuation of that. See where he's at with some of these new wide receivers, and then we'll reassess after practice and figure out, is Allen going, or is Allen even going at all this preseason?
Yeah, and I think an illustration of just how concerned Coach McDermott is with his NFL MVP's health is the fact that he is on the offensive field with the Bills offense, and he is controlling the whistle. So as soon as he chooses, he can blow plays dead with the whistle. So any defensive ends or pass rushers getting close to Josh, he's blowing the whistle in a hurry. I think it just illustrates how concerned he is about keeping Josh healthy going into the regular season. I know we thought, if the offense looks good, first team, maybe they don't play as much on Sunday night. Defense, probably it's a similar situation. What has been your assessment of Buffalo's offense? You've watched them a little bit more than the defense here out.
Yeah, I've been watching team drills from the offense. They just got into a red zone period as well as 2-minute drill. And Josh has done a good job of connecting with some of those wide receivers. Earlier on, we saw Elijah Moore run this crazy route where he had a cut to the inside and extended the play about 10 extra yards. So building that chemistry with Josh Allen. And then Allen targets new wide receiver Joshua Palmer in the end zone for a play, connecting with Keon Coleman for a couple of plays as well. Keon had an incredible toe-tapping touchdown in the corner of the end zone during red zone period. So it looks like Allen is doing a good job of building that team chemistry, and McDermott referenced it earlier on when we spoke to him about that connection with Joshua Palmer, saying recently, I think that chemistry is improving. I can see it on the field in the way that they're reacting to each other and the way that they're communicating with each other. So those are some of the things that I saw out of the offense during the team drills. I got to give a kudos to our offensive line too in the red zone. They were doing a great job of protecting Josh Allen so that he could extend some plays, roll out of the pocket, and find some receivers. Also got to give a shout out to Kaleki Latu when Mitchell Trubisky was in for the red zone period. He connected with Latu in the middle of the end zone, was surrounded by a sea of Bears defenders, and Latu jumped up. He's like 6'7", so not a huge jump,
6'7",
and grabbed the ball for a touchdown. The team went crazy. So I would say pretty clean day out of our offense. Allen did have one interception in the red zone. It was actually picked off by our good friend Tremaine Edmonds, but there was a flag on the play. So not sure if that was truly an interception. So that's what I've got.
As far as the defense goes, in 11-on-11, they were really effective in defending the run, and I know that's a bone of contention that Coach McDermott wanted to address with his defense going into this season. And really, the reads in the run game were solid. Matt Milano was all over the field again, just triggering and firing. There were tackles for no gain, tackles for loss. I noticed TJ Sanders and Dwayne Carter in that area as well, really filling up the gaps in the run front, so that was encouraging to see. They did get victimized in the middle of the field a few times in the passing game. Colston Loveland, their first-round pick, made a nice play over the middle of the field. Roma Dunze has been a hard guy to get under wraps. He's made some plays here on the offensive side of the ball for the Bears, the former first-round pick. And then in the 2-minute drill on defense, Buffalo's defense essentially won. In the 3 series that they ran here for 11-on-11 red zone, Buffalo's defense held them out of the end zone, even on 4th down plays when they decided to go for it on 4th down, end-of-game type situations. Cole Bishop had a nice pass breakup. He fired up from his deep center field spot, broke up a pass on the right side of the formation there. I was encouraged by that. And then later on, there were a couple of other pass pressure plays turned in by Michael Hoyt, who had a sack. He tapped the quarterback before he got rid of the ball. That counted as a sack. And then Joey Bosa with a big sack off the left side of the formation to force a 3rd down and long in a red zone period as well. So I'm encouraged by what we've seen from the defensive front specifically. I think the back 7 has some plays that they probably wanted back here. So we'll see how the rest of practice goes, but an encouraging performance with some playmaking type headline plays from the defense.
I forgot one play in the 2-minute drill by Buffalo's offense. Another Keon Coleman play. He had a touchdown earlier during team drills, and then to finish off their series in the 2-minute drill, Josh Allen throws a beautiful ball. Keon Coleman runs a great route, beats the defender, and grabs the ball in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. The Bears staff around me said, wow, what a ball and what a route by the wide receiver. So things are going along swimmingly here.
We should mention some of the players working their way back into the practice setting. Curtis Samuel, limited today. It's his first practice, really, of the entire preseason. He pulled a hamstring early in training camp, hasn't played since. And just talking to some of the Bills people, they were saying, look, we just want him to kind of make his way through practice. Don't push anything too hard. And you could even tell in individual drills, he was kind of working at half to three-quarter speed. I think he just wants to get through this practice today without putting his pedal to the floor, so to speak, and then work up to that. Whether he even plays on Sunday night is probably still a question mark, but at least good to see him back out on the field. We're waiting to see some kicking from Tyler Bass. He's limited as well, as we know, with that pelvic soreness. I think it was Caden Davis over there on the other field kicking, right? So we're still waiting on Bass. And then Alec Anderson and Dion. So those two guys kind of working their way back in.
And it's good to see Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop back out there together. That was a position group that we were eagerly looking forward to seeing that chemistry come along, and finally here in the last couple practices, both of them back on the field, limited a little bit but still doing a lot. And like you said, you saw Cole Bishop have a pass breakup today. Yeah,
and then I would say, as far as players that are seeing more time with the ones, TJ Sanders rolling in with the first team defense, lining up alongside Ed Oliver over here. So with the first unit in 11-on-11 red zone, that was encouraging to see during the 2-minute drill. And then we both saw Jordan Hancock getting some time with the starters as well. So a couple of draft picks getting some looks and rotating up in the rotation.
In terms of things getting chippy during a joint practice, I gotta say the special teams period when you
they took the cake on that.
Oh my gosh, that was the most fun special teams period I've ever watched in my life. I looked over at Spencer Brown and I said, this is absolutely hilarious. And he said, yeah, this is how special teams always is when we're going up against a different team, because the starters are on the sidelines egging the guys on who are actually playing. And there were some great reps by some of our punt coverage team, some of our return team. So it was fun to watch special teams period, just the energy, a little bit of skirmishes there.
Well, yeah, because right here on the near sideline, right in front of us, there was about a 20-player pileup in special teams once people started pushing and shoving each other, and cooler heads in that particular instance did not prevail. It kind of lasted for about 30, 40 seconds. No punches were thrown, just a lot of wrestling pretty much going on, but it was a pileup of about 15 to 20 players. So suffice it to say, the intensity has been turned up to about 9 or 10 pretty much since they got started here, which is what you want. You want intensity. You want it as game-like as possible. You just don't want it to spill over the line there. And I think for the most part, they've been able to pull it back from punches being thrown, helmets being ripped off, that kind of stuff. So that's encouraging. And now, we await Sunday night and what that brings. And as Coach McDermott said, based on what he sees out here, if there are young players that need more reps, they're obviously going to play on Sunday night. For some of the veteran players, it will be a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, he's got to see where different position groups are at. We're in the second week of the preseason here. One more preseason game to go after the Bills face the Bears on Sunday. And it's going to be a case-by-case basis. As you said, they're going to watch the practice film after practice today, evaluate the injury report, figure out who do we need to see more of and who do we feel like we've seen enough of. In terms of younger players, Sean McDermott said some of the younger guys who go today, we just need to see more out of them, so they'll have to go again on Sunday.